Ms. Lapine, you say for the past 30 years, you'd always believed the defendant, Mr. Lapine, was your dad.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then just months ago at a family dinner, you were told by a family member that he's not your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Still in shock, you state you're here today to finally discover the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lapine, you say you've spent years in jail for unpaid child support and your life has been turned upside down.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tomorrow you have yet another court date.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim you could be locked up again if today's results prove you are indeed Ms. Lapine's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Lapine, tell me, what happened the night you first learned the defendant may not be your biological father?
We was at a family dinner and we was all just discussing how our parents was, and then family members started saying that, well, you don't know if he's your dad or not because you don't look like your dad and he might not be your dad.
Wait a minute, wait. Did you ever heard of anything like this?
No, Your Honor.
Oh my goodness. What did you say?
I went to another family member and asked if this was true, and they just told me that this was not the time or place to talk about it and just shrugged it off.
Wow. So did you reach out to your father, Mr.
Yes.
And what did you say?
I called him the next day and asked him if it was true, and my father said that that guy was around at the time. So then he started questioning it.
So hold on. They gave you a name?
Gave me a name.
Of the man that was your father?
Yes.
Wow. Mr. Lapine.
Yes, ma'am.
For 30 years, all this time, you believe this young girl was your daughter?
Yes, ma'am. And I've been 4 to 5 years in jail, and it gets rough.
4 to 5 years in jail.
Yes, ma'am.
For unpaid child support.
Yes, ma'am.
For a young woman that calls you and then says, some family member told me you may not even be my biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You actually have a court date tomorrow.
1:30 tomorrow afternoon.
Concerning the child support for this young woman that you're still behind on.
Yes, ma'am.
You could be thrown back in jail again for being behind, and yet you still don't know whether you're her biological father.
True, I don't. I don't know if I'm her dad or not.
Have you ever been arrested for anything else besides this child support issue?
Never, ma'am. Nothing.
Just getting behind in child support.
Yes, ma'am, that's it. It's the only time I've ever been in jail.
So 30 years go by. 30 years you thinking you have a daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
You're going in and out of jail for child support as it relates to her.
Yes, ma'am.
When you get that phone call and she tells you a family member said that to her, do you go back in time to those moments after you learned her mother was pregnant?
I went all the way back. I thought about everything after that.
What were your revelations?
I counted back months. I was like, wait a minute. There's a month or two here that I wasn't even down there and she's supposed to be pregnant at this time.
You started doing some math and you felt like it didn't add up.
Yes, ma'am.
You said, well, the window of conception would have been around this time and
Yes, ma'am, exactly.
this may or may not be mine.
Yes, ma'am.
So after you learned her mother was pregnant, you went on and married and signed the birth certificate and you stepped up to be the father.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you remember her mother being intimate with anybody else during that time?
I didn't know then. After me and her separated, I was told by friends of mine that they had slept with her and other people.
Wow. So as you look at Ms. Lapine, do you feel like she looks?
No, ma'am, she looks nothing like me. And the dark
But your
skin,
other daughter, you claim, looks like you.
dark hair, dark skin, skinny, looks identical to me.
Jerome, I think it's time we meet her. Please escort her in.
Hey, ma'am. I'm gonna have you go up to the witness stand up here, next to the judge.
Please be seated. Thank you for joining us. And your name?
Jennifer Lapine.
Mr. Lapine is your father.
Yes.
And you grew up believing Brandy was your sister.
Yes.
So when did you hear about there being any doubt?
I mean, we were always teased about it, but...
Who would tease you?
It's just different family members. So...
What would they say?
It was just things like, oh, well, you're the milkman's baby, you know, stuff like that. It's just been, you know, after so many years, you think something, and then it comes out, and then you see it affect everybody. It's not just me and her, you know, it's our kids, it's, you know, everybody around us. It's our whole family. Because this is what we thought, this is what we believed. And now all of a sudden it's like, you know, it may not be, but
what are you holding in your hand?
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell.
This is a picture we took last week of me, my dad, and my sister.
And you feel like you strongly resemble your father.
Right.
But Brandy does not.
Right.
When you look at this picture, Brandy, what do you feel?
I always thought that I just got my mother's side of the genes. I always thought, you know, I look like my mom, but I always thought I had my dad's attitude.
Okay, that's fair.
I always thought that, but I mean, as you could tell, no, we don't look nothing alike, but your kids don't always look like you, so I was just like.
And your dad says all these years, you thought she was your daughter.
Yes, Your Honor. And here's where I've been paying child support.
Yeah.
I'd go to the courthouse and pay.
Jerome, please pass me that evidence.
I would have it taken out of my paychecks and everything else. I would go to the courthouse and make them take it out of my paychecks all the time. They go back.
Record after record.
They go back to 1998. Some spots in there that aren't there, I was in jail.
For unpaid child support.
Yes, ma'am.
And with a court date tomorrow, the stakes, they really can't be any higher because they could send you back to jail.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a vicious cycle at some point. If you lose your job or you get behind in your support, then you go to jail. Well, even if you had a job, when you go to jail, you lose the job.
Yes, ma'am.
Then you come out of jail, you gotta find another job. And it can keep happening over and over again.
But where was he when he wasn't in jail?
I left for 10 years.
You and her mother broke up.
I come home, she come into where I was sitting and told me, I want you to move out.
And how old was Miss Lapine then? How old was your daughter?
3. I just packed my stuff and left. Now I wish I'd never left.
So, Mr. Lapine, you have regrets?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you feel like you let your daughters down?
I did let them down. And I'm sorry. I wish I'd never left. I wasn't worried about what their mom had to say. And then I wouldn't have messed Miss Hopper. And she's been there with me through the thick and thin.
Please stand up, ma'am. State your name.
Linda Opfer.
Thank you for joining us today, ma'am. I see you're very emotional as well.
It's been hard because every time Richard goes to jail, and not only do Brandy and Jennifer lose their father again, but also my 4 children.
And to be clear, you all are in a relationship.
26 years.
Yes, ma'am.
26 years.
Yeah. So they lose their father, and my children call him Dad. Everybody suffers.
Everyone suffers.
Yes, ma'am.
And your fear is he's going to go back to jail tomorrow if these results prove that he is Brandy's biological father.
Well, and it's every time he goes, I lose a part of my soul.
But you still find yourself in this scary situation because you haven't been able to catch up on this support. So you still are in fear of getting locked up all the time.
Yes, ma'am.
Always.
See, I'm on disability now. And when they take my child support out, I only get $600 a month after that. That's it.
So they're taking for your arrears.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Brandy, I have to ask you, what have the last couple of months been like struggling with this information? Have you tried to find this name they gave you, this man?
Yes, I have looked for this man, Bill, but there is 239 people.
Oh,
all over the
Jerome, let
place.
me see that.
I would not begin to know who to start with.
So you started your search. You said, let me try to find this gentleman they've named.
Yes, Your Honor.
239 from pretty much every state in the United States.
Yes, Your Honor.
16 in Pennsylvania, 8 in Tennessee, 3 in Washington, 13 in North Carolina. And you're trying to look for your potential biological father with these types of odds.
Yes, because
And then
I'm getting married soon, and I just want to know who my real dad is.
And then I have to ask you this. When you hear about the man you believe to be your father, Mr. Lapine, your whole life, facing jail time again tomorrow.
I don't know.
Take your time. I know this is difficult. Because you really don't know, right?
No, I don't.
Tell your father how you feel.
I feel upset that you wasn't there for all them years. And I feel like, even though I love y'all to death and I love my brothers and sisters, I feel like that you did more for them than you ever did for us.
That 10 years I was gone was my mistake. Because that was 10 years I missed out of you guys' life. Like I said, that was my mistake.
Jennifer, is there anything you'd like to add? Anything you'd like to say before we go to the results?
The lurking feeling still in the back of my mind of where were you? You know, why weren't you there? Would it have changed our childhood? You know, would things have made things different for us as we were growing up? I mean, I love your kids to death, Linda. I do, and I look at them as my brothers and sisters.
They are your brother and sister.
But in a way, I'm jealous of them because my dad raised them, but he didn't raise me. He wasn't there for me, but he was there for them.
We can't make the past up.
No, we can't.
No, I can't, but I make the future better.
Very well said. And Jennifer, you've also requested that a paternity test be done on your behalf.
Yes,
to make sure Mr. Lapine is also your biological father.
Yes, ma'am. Just to be comfort here and support my sister and let her know I'll go through it with her too. I'll be there with her through everything.
I think it's time to get both results. If anyone would like to take a seat, please feel free. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. The first result pertains to Jennifer. In the case of Lapine versus Lapine, when it comes to Jennifer Lapine, Mr. Richard Lapine, you are her father. The next result pertains to Brandy. In the case of Lapine versus Lapine, as it pertains to the paternity of Ms. Brandy Lapine, Ms. Lapine, Mr. Richard Lapine. In the case of Lapine versus Lapine, as it pertains to the paternity of Ms. Brandy Lapine, Ms. Lapine, Mr. Richard Lapine, is not your biological father.
No matter what, still my daughter.
Ms. Lapine, this courtroom is about the truth, finding out the truth. There is a scientific truth, and then there's also the spiritual truth, the loving truth. And that's that you all are a family, you know? Yeah.
Mr. Weatherspoon, you have brought your ex to court because you claim she is trying to pin her 3-year-old son, Aiden Ferguson, on you. You claim to know who her child's father is, and that isn't you. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Ferguson, you claim that the plaintiff is denying your child only because he is a deadbeat who runs from his responsibilities. You testify you are certain he's your son's father, and once it's proven, he owes you and your son an apology. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Weatherspoon, why do you believe Ms. Ferguson is trying to pin her baby on you?
Well, first of all, Your Honor, from the time that I met this woman until now, it's been nothing but lies and deception. She know how I am with our oldest son, which is Cameron, and also my other kids as well.
You're such
she know
a
that I'm
liar.
a father and that I take real good care of my kids. So she wants it for herself. She like to make mistakes, and then she wants me to clean it up for her. We was together at one point, Your Honor, so she know what type of man that I am, and she wants me to share that same joy with the other kids that she also have. So that's why she's accusing me today.
But you believe she's just trying to pin this baby on you. You believe she's just trying to pin this baby on you.
Trying to pin them on me.
Are you doing that, Ms. Ferguson?
No, Your Honor. If I pin some kids on this man, them his kids. I ain't just gonna pin no kids up on this man. He ain't nobody.
So you have another child together, an older child.
Yes, we do.
But you refuse to accept Aiden.
No, yes, Your Honor, yes, I do not accept him at all. My mama raised me not to never let a woman like this come and try to bring me down.
Woman like how? What woman? Woman like how?
So hold on, Ms. Ferguson. Does Mr. Weatherspoon treat Aiden differently than he does the other children?
I feel like he does.
How so?
When he calls me or message me, he only asks about Cameron. He don't never ask about Aiden.
Really?
Yes.
And when he's coming to see Cameron, he doesn't play with Aiden?
He'll probably speak to Aiden, but he don't give him like that fatherly feel how he get Cameron. And Aiden deserves a father, his father, to be there just as well as he's there for his oldest brother.
Your Honor, she trained this baby to call me daddy. She trained this baby to believe that I'm his father.
Why would I train him to call you daddy?
Pictures of him to me. When I come and see Cameron, that baby's calling me daddy. You gotta see how I feel that this baby that I have no bond or connection with is calling me daddy. She's pushing something on me that I don't feel is not there.
And you believe she's trying to manipulate you and make the child call you daddy to make you buy into this fact.
Thank you.
So now you have Cameron, the first child.
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't question the paternity of Cameron, Mr.
No, I do not.
Weatherspoon.
No,
all right.
I do not. But I did start having my doubts, Your Honor, because after a while of us being together, I was actually sick one day and ended up going to go check my mailbox. I noticed the car was pulling up.
That wasn't me.
So I turned around and I think that car pulling up. So when the car pulled up, she got out the car. But as I'm looking over her shoulder, I see a white boy in the car with her. So I'm looking like, you know, what's going on? So I say, Belinda, who is that white man outside of my house? You know what I'm saying? So she's like, he just a friend. He just let me use his car to come over here. So in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, she never mentioned his friend.
You thought she was cheating.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you confronted her about that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Ferguson, were you cheating?
He was teaching me how to drive. We was friends.
Is he teaching you how to drive or teaching you how to ride?
He teaching
That's two different things.
He taught me how to drive out of a friendly gesture. That's all it was. It wasn't no intimate anything going on between me and that man. I even knew him before I even met Cordero.
So you were never intimate with him?
We was intimate before I even met him, but it was one time.
Okay, so see, now the plot thickens. See, this is the problem. Now I know why you never really told him too much about the man, because you would have had to admit this is a man I've been intimate with before.
I just didn't look at it that way.
So, Mr. Weatherspoon, is this the only other time you heard Miss Ferguson was entertaining other men?
I had some friends at this superstore, and they called me on the phone, and it's crazy because I was actually around the corner at another store with my sister shopping at the time. So they called me, they say, Cordero, are you still with Belinda? I say, yes, I am. They say, well, she just walked in the store holding hands with this other man.
I wasn't holding hands with her.
I said, no, that's not her. That's gotta be a lie.
I wasn't holding hands with
we telling you. But in my mind, I knew they were telling the truth because I knew about this other man. You know what I'm saying? So I called Belinda's phone. There was no answer. I called her again. There was no answer. I called her for the third time. She picked the phone up, but it sounded like she was in the bathroom and I could hear echo. I said, where are you? She said, I'm at a party store with my friend. We getting some stuff for her party. She hung the phone up. When she hung,
I didn't hang the phone up.
When she hung that phone up, I went to my sister and I said, can I see your keys? Please let me see your keys. I hurried up and jumped in her truck. I tried to make it to that superstore, you know what I'm saying, to try to catch her up. So I drove as fast as I can around that corner, and when I got there, I ran up inside. My friends inside, where is she? She's already gone. So I was real upset then.
So you just missed her?
I just missed her. So in my mind, I said, enough is enough, I'm done.
All right.
I don't recall that, Your Honor. I don't recall him because after that situation with my my friend, we was at, the supermarket holding hands. I mean, we weren't holding hands.
Wait a minute.
We wasn't holding hands. We wasn't. I'm sorry. We wasn't holding hands. We was at the supermarket.
Wait a minute. You testified earlier that you were not holding hands.
It came out wrong. We was not holding hands, but we was at the supermarket. We was at the supermarket together.
So now that's the same man that's teaching you how to drive. Now he's taking you to the supermarket.
Yes.
All this while you're supposed to be in a relationship with Mr. Weatherspoon.
Yeah, but at that time, I didn't feel like me and him would be serious. I didn't know that we was gonna get as serious as we did. So I was still, I was talking to a friend. I didn't feel like it was going, I didn't feel like I was disrespecting him. I didn't feel like I was disrespecting him.
So now he says he's done. At some point you break up?
Yes, we did. We broke up. I ended it. I didn't want it no more.
And that's before Aiden was conceived.
Exactly.
So now you're convinced that she was dating another guy during this breakup?
Yes. It was an incident with this street thug guy, you know what I'm saying? I was actually coming to see Cameron and pick him up to spend time with him. And when I got to her, where she was staying at first, the street thug and her was pulling up in a car, you know what I'm saying? So I asked her, Belinda went, what is my son doing in the car with this man? So no, we weren't doing that. I was just driving him around. We was running his errands. So I looked at her and I grabbed my son and I just walked away after she told me that.
But how does that say that I was messing with the man?
Hold on, well, wait a minute, Miss Ferguson. It's only so many rides and driving around the corner and supermarket runs. This don't make no kind of sense. You keep looking over him like you crazy. I don't know what you're talking about, but you admit you with these men. White man,
so
the street thug.
If I'm not with him, I can do whatever I want to. If me and him not in a relationship.
So you saying this is when you all were done?
Yeah, we was done. That's when he told me about.
So you were entertaining. You did have another friend at that time.
Yeah, I had another friend, but we wasn't together. We weren't in a relationship, so I could do what I want. And plus, he had a whole woman that he was
Mr. Weatherspoon, what you're saying is you believe this other man is Aiden's biological father.
Exactly, Your Honor. That's exactly what I'm saying. I believe the other dude is his biological father. One time she called me and she told me Cameron needed Pampers. She didn't know when I was gonna come and bring the Pampers. I didn't tell her, but it was 7 o'clock at night. I decided to come and drop his Pampers off. I rang her doorbell. She normally answered her doorbell. You know what I'm saying? But this time she didn't answer, so I called her phone. She didn't answer the phone call, so I texted and said, I'm downstairs with my son Pampers. So she texted me back and said, I'm at church. So I'm thinking to myself, you at church? It's 7 o'clock at night. She said, I'm at night church with a family member.
I'm just glad she going somewhere, church, so she be riding in that car with everybody. So you was at church?
Yes, I was at church.
You said?
Yeah.
Who
Yes,
took
Your
you?
Honor. My sister.
Thank you, Lord. So, Mr. Weatherspoon, so you at the door with the Pampers. She says, I'm at church.
Yes.
Then what happens?
And then I found the other family members, the other family members of hers to confirm her story. And that family member says, no, she's not at no church with the other family member, that was a lie. So I text her phone back and said, where's you at with my son? You're not at no church. So she called me and said, I'm on my way. Whole time I'm standing on the strip in the building where she at, I noticed the car pulled up on the side. She hurried up and get my son out, and she came out and talked to me. I said, I thought you was not gonna take my son back to that street thug house.
Oh, wait, hold on. When she pulled up, she didn't get out of her sister's car?
No, she got out of the street thug's car.
Miss Ferguson, I thought you just testified that you were at church and your sister brought you.
We did go to church, but at that time that he texted me, we was leaving church, and I ended up going to the dude's house. Well, I was at church.
So a month later,
I didn't lie about church.
A month later after that incident, she claimed she was pregnant. Was supposed to be with her son, Aiden.
So take me to that day. How did she tell you she was pregnant?
Well, first, Your Honor, she sent me a text and said, I think I'm pregnant. I said, about who? You know what I'm saying? So so when I said that, she called me. She's like, pretty much, stop playing, I think I'm pregnant for real. So I hung the phone up. So she went to go take a pregnancy test, sent me the pregnancy test and said, yeah, I'm pregnant. What are we gonna do? I said, no, what are you gonna do?
No, you
laughed. You know what I'm saying?
You
so
laughed at
pretty much, that's when I knew and started feeling like
so
that's
Miss
my child.
Ferguson, you tell Mr. Weatherspoon you pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's the first person you tell?
Yes, Your Honor. He the first person that I told.
Did you tell the other guy?
No, the other guy didn't have no reason.
Why not?
No, because I wasn't sexually active with the other guy. We was just conversating. When I was going to his house, we was just chilling. It was never anything sexual between us.
Right, y'all was chilling at his house?
Yeah, because you go to somebody's house, doesn't mean you have to have sex with them.
Come on, man, he's a street thug.
We never had sex. We never had sex.
Oh, Lordy. So, Miss Ferguson, I really want to keep it real. Are you suggesting that through all of this, everything you've done all this time, you've never had sex with anybody else?
No, Your Honor.
Are you for real?
So all it is entertainment, nothing sexual.
Who entertains a super thug, Yana? Who does that?
The same person that entertains another
What is a
person.
super thug?
A street
person
thug.
that entertains
She made him
guy.
seem super to me. She made him seem super to me.
So, Miss Ferguson, take me to the birth.
Oh, I went through the labor without him. After I had Aiden, I called him. He came up there and he walked right back out. He looked at Aiden and walked right back out.
Is that what you did, Mr. Weatherspoon?
That's exactly what I did, Yana. I walked right in, I looked at that baby, it was no attachment, no feeling with me. I know my kids, I have
But
a
Aiden
bond,
looked just
I have
like
an
you.
attachment with all
Look at
my
him.
kids. When I walked in that hospital and seen that particular baby in the bed, I knew for a fact that told me
Sounds
to
so
get out of
stupid.
there.
You got
So
your
that's what I
nose.
did, I left.
And Mr. Weatherspoon, you never volunteered to do anything for the baby when the baby was a newborn, when Aiden was first born? No Pampers, no toys, no clothes, no onesies, no visits, no nothing?
No, Yana, I left that to the man who was responsible for that situation.
Aiden even have his dry skin, just like him.
Now he got dry skin.
He do have dry skin, just like
I
him.
told her about my eczema. I have eczema. I told her
Aiden
about
have
it.
the same thing.
When that baby started growing up, she gave
Same
me a
thing.
call and said, I think he really yours. He's starting to have dry skin like you.
I never
now
said
all of a
he
sudden he
think
got
he
dry
really
skin
yours.
like me.
Just like
So, what I want to understand is, because when we talk about eczema, eczema actually runs in my family a lot too. So I want to get more information on this and see how this potentially could relate to the paternity question we're here to deal with. So I'm calling on Dr. Jamila Gator. Jerome, will you please escort Dr. Gator into the courtroom?
Yes, Your Honor.
I would like to ask her a few questions about this. Hi, Dr. Gator.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us again. So I was curious as to the medical information we have regarding eczema. Is this something that's related to genetics that could be somehow connected to paternity?
Well, possibly. Eczema is typically caused by allergies, which are often hereditary. And what happens is the skin gets irritated when it's exposed to certain environmental factors like foods, pollen, mold, dust mites. And that causes the skin rashes that we see, the dry, patchy skin with eczema. But eczema can also be caused by other environmental irritants like soaps, detergents, lotions that come in contact with the skin. And then in that case, it wouldn't necessarily be due to allergies and then typically not hereditary.
So I have to ask you, Miss Ferguson, do we know if the street thug has eczema?
No, Your Honor, I do not know that.
I don't know what this woman is saying.
What I'm saying is true and it's real.
But but the truth is, what we've heard from the doctor is there could be more than one cause. And that leaves us smack dab in the middle of some more confusion.